Welcome Algebra 2 students to the homework help video, page 47, numbers 13 through 18. Not a very difficult assignment. Let's go ahead and get started with these 6 problems. Okay, problem number 13. Step 1 is to isolate the absolute value. In all of your homework problems tonight or today, they've already isolated the absolute value for you. Please understand, on upcoming tests and quizzes, I will give you more difficult problems where you will have to isolate the absolute value, something like this. Something like that, okay? So understand that. Anyways, step 1, isolate the absolute value. You must always do that first. After you've done that, which is already done for you, then write 2 equations. So you write the equation just like it is. Then you write another equation. This left side here, you leave identical. And then you change the sign of this number here. So over here it's a 7, we'll put a -7. Alright? And here we go. Let's solve this equation. Bring the positive 9 over, make it a -9. 2x equals -2. Now divide both sides by 2. A positive, a negative divided by a positive is negative. 2 over 2 is 1. So there's one answer. Now let's come over here. Let's bring the positive 9 over, make it a -9. We're left with -7, -9, you owe me 7, you owe me 9, -16, divide by 2. A negative divided by a positive is going to be a negative. Over here your 2's cancel. 16 divided by 2 is 8. So your 2 answers are -1 and -8. Both of those answers satisfy this absolute value equation. Okay, number 14, step 1, isolate the absolute value. That's already done for you. Step 2, write 2 different equations. So the first equation is simply 4 minus 6x equals 2. And the second equation is leave the left side identical. And then over here you put the opposite of this number. It's 2, so we're going to put -2. Alright, let's solve this equation. Bring your positive 4 over and make it a -4. So we're left with -6x equals -2 when you combine these two. Now divide both sides by your coefficient, which is -6. These cancel. X equals negative divided by negative is positive. 2 divided by 6, you're welcome to put 1/3. Or you can put 0.3 repeating, but do not put 2/6, okay? Your fraction, if you write a fraction for your answer, it must be reduced. So there's one answer. Now, let's bring the positive 4 over and make it a -4. And we're left with -6x equals a -6. Now divide both sides by your coefficient. These cancel. A negative divided by a negative is positive. 6 over 6 is 1. So your answers for x are 1/3 and 1. 1/3 and 1. Number 15. Step 1, isolate the absolute value. It's already done for you. Step 2, write 2 equations. So one equation is 1/4 m minus 9 equals 6. And the other equation is, leave this identically alone, okay? So 1/4 m minus 9 equals a -6, okay? So the left side here is identical to the left side here. The only thing it changes are these two here. They're opposites of each other. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and do something very quickly to get rid of my fractions. Remember though, never get rid of your fractions first. First you simplify both sides. So this equation here cannot be simplified. This equation here cannot be simplified. So I'm going to go ahead and multiply this equation by 4 to get rid of my fraction. I'm going to go ahead and do it to this one too at the same time. So 4 times 1/4, your 4's would cancel, leaving you with 1m or just m. 4 times -9, -36. 4 times 6 is 24. Over here, 4 times 1/4 is 1m or m. 4 times -9, -36. 4 times -6 is -24. Now we're ready to quickly solve this. Bring the 36 over, make it a positive 36. So your answer would be 60. Positive 24, positive 36. Now bring your -36 over, make it a positive 36. And your answer would be 12. 12. Okay, so there are 2 answers to this. this equation 60 and 12. Alright, moving on to number 16. Alright, step 1, isolate your absolute value. That's already done. Step 2, write two equations. Your first equation will be identical to the original problem, just without the absolute value symbols. Now, write the other equation. The left side here stays the same. So 3/5 x plus 2 equals, the right side has an 11, so over here on the right side I put negative 11. And now we're ready to solve these. Can you simplify this equation? No. Can you simplify this one? No. I'm going to quickly eliminate my fraction in both of these. My denominator is 5, so here we go. 5 over 1 times 3 over 5. My 5's cancel, leave me with 3x. Also, 5 times 2 is 10. Also, 5 times 11 is 55. Now let's multiply this equation by 5 also. Your 5 over 1 times 3/5, your 5's cancel, leaving you with 3x. 5 times 2 is 10. And 5 times negative 11 is negative 55. So, now I'm ready to quickly solve these equations. I'm going to go ahead and finish this one here, and I'll finish this one next. Okay, bring your positive 10 over and make it a negative 10. So we're left with 3x equals 45. Next, we're going to divide both sides by 3. These cancel. 45 divided by 3 is 15. There's one answer. Now, bring your positive 10 over, make it a negative 10, and you're left with 3x equals negative 65. Okay, divide both sides by 3, and you're left with x equals, and you can put any of these three answers. Negative 65 over 3 is fine. A negative over a positive makes the whole fraction negative. That's fine, it's reduced. That's totally reduced. There's no number that goes into 65 and 3 evenly. Or you can write it as a mixed number, which would be 21 and 2/3. That's totally acceptable, okay? Or you can put 21.6 repeating. Any of, they gotta be negative though, sorry about that. Any of those answers are sufficient, okay? Let's check and see if we did it correctly. Yes, we did. Moving on to 17, then 18, then we'll be finished. Okay, step 1. Go ahead and isolate the absolute value. It's already done. So step 2, write your two equations. We write it just like it is, without the absolute values. Then take the left side, leave it the same, and your positive 7 right here becomes a negative 7. Now, here we go. Bring the 20 over and make it a negative 20. So we're left with negative 3x. Now a lot of students forget to bring down the negative sign, okay? That negative is attached to this term. This term here is a negative term, okay? Alright, so negative 3x equals a negative 13. Alright, now divide both sides by negative 3. These cancel, and you're left with, now watch, a negative over negative is positive. You can put 13 over 3, that's totally reduced. Or you can put 4 and 1/3, that's totally acceptable. Or you can put 4.3 repeating. Alright, okay, coming over here, bring your positive 20 over, make it a negative 20. So we're left with negative 3x equals negative 27. Okay, now divide both sides by a negative 3. These cancel. X equals a negative divided by a negative is a positive. 27 divided by 3 is 9. So there's your answers. Any one of these are fine, and also the number 9. And we are correct, okay? Moving on to number 18, the last problem. Step 1, isolate the absolute value. We've already done that. Step 2, write two different equations. So I'm going to write the equation just like it is. And then I'm going to write another equation. The left side will stay the same. The right side will be the opposite, 5 here, negative 5 here. Okay, bring your 20 over, make it a negative 20. And we're left with negative 9q equals positive 5, negative 20, negative 15. Now divide both sides by a negative 9. This fraction can be reduced, so be careful. A negative over a negative is positive. 3 goes into both of those numbers. So you're welcome to put 5/3. You are not welcome to put 15 over 9, okay? Because it can be reduced. Also, instead of 5/3, you can put 1 2/3. these cancel, and we're left with q equals positive, because the negative over negative is positive, 25 over 9. Now, that cannot be reduced. There is no number that goes into both of those evenly. We could definitely convert it to a mixed number, but that's not reducing. Reducing is when you divide both numbers by the same number, make them smaller. This cannot be reduced, so that's one answer. Another answer would be 2 and 7/9. Okay, that is the same thing as 25 over 9. And then another answer would be 2.7 repeating. 2.7. How'd I get that? Type in 25 divided by 9 on your calculator, and you will get 2.7 repeating. Alright, so there we go. Guys, this is really a simple homework assignment. I hope this has been a help to you. If you have any questions, never hesitate to call or email.